Hello and welcome to Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global, and I invite you to get comfortable and listen in on candid conversations I have with fascinating women from around the globe. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, humanitarians, athletes, and a whole lot of regular people. Tune in as they let their guard down and open up on aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure success, and what they have learned along the way. These conversations aim to inspire you to embrace opportunities and possibilities beyond the limits of your imagination. Reclaim your power, strength, and vulnerability. Stand in your truth and propel yourself towards the life you dream to live. Hello to our beautiful listeners. Annie Gibbins here, and today I have the privilege of hosting Dr. Sherry Shannon-Vanstone. She is a purpose-driven serial tech entrepreneur. Oh my goodness, she's such a trailblazer in the world of information security. She's got a history of successful exits and key roles in Silicon Valley and the Toronto-Waterloo Tech corridor. Sherry has built a high performance team many times and made an incredible impact in this space. Her journey includes being a, let me say this right, cryptologic mathematician. Doesn't that sound impressive? She's a VP of electronic commerce at MasterCard and has had pivotal roles in info security startups. Notably, she commercialized Elliptic Curve Cryptography, a cornerstone to mobile device security globally. The great thing, listeners, is we just use these devices and we have amazing women like Sherry who are actually making it all happen. So welcome to the program, Sherry.
Well, this is a privilege to be here with you, Annie, today.
It's great to have you here. Those of you who haven't Google stalked Sherry before, she's got an honorary doctorate. That's why she's Dr. Sherry. She's also got leadership awards recognizing woman of tech, woman of science, woman of engineering, woman of arts, woman of maths. This woman has seriously made such a profound impact. So I'm really looking forward to our conversations. She's even serving on boards like CANARIE. So oh my gosh, I'm feeling humbled today in your midst. So let's talk about tech trailblazing. Did you have a moment? Can you share a moment or a decision in your career, probably at the early days, that really defined your trajectory to become this trailblazer that you've become in IT?
It probably started when I was with the U.S. government. I was with the National Security Agency as a cryptologic mathematician, and I had an opportunity there. I really loved my work there because I was using mathematics, which, you know, it's not always easy to find a job that uses mathematics. And so when I had been there, I'd been there 6 years, and I realized then that for me to move forward, to move on, I had to move on. Meaning I had to leave the organization. And that was when I realized I wanted to be in control as much as we can of my own destiny. So I wanted to decide how I was going to utilize my background in mathematics and what I was going to do in the commercial world. So I went to Silicon Valley, and it was so exciting because I went to a startup. There were just a few of us. So they asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, I want to be in charge of Asia Pacific and Latin America, because I had a degree in Spanish too. So, and of course, with a startup, they let you do that. This is one thing about being in a startup. They say, oh yeah, here you go, without giving you any training whatsoever. And I went off to Australia and New Zealand and 13 different countries in Asia Pacific. And I was really in control of my destiny, wherever that would lead me. And that led me to a very successful career in the commercial side of information security. So that started me, it catapulted me right into the real action and set me up for the entrepreneurial journey that I'm still on.
Absolutely phenomenal. And I'm imagining our listeners just going, wow, that is such a big, brave, bold move to go, okay, I'm going to have to move. I don't know where I'm going to. So you in the same sentence said I needed control at the same time as other people are thinking you have just exposed yourself to massive risk. It's fascinating, isn't it, right? What someone else sees as control and intent to drive and believe in themselves, and someone else would go, but you didn't know what you were going for.
Yeah, and when I say control, the control is that it was within my, that I was making the decisions. Yes. That no one else was making them for me. Like when my boss told me, he said, for you to move on up, you have to move on. And I'm thinking, I like my job here. I love my job here. But yeah, my boss wasn't going anywhere. So my boss's boss said this to me. So I wanted it, and I know we're not necessarily in control, but I just want to say I wanted to make these decisions, and I made the decision. And when I did make it, it was difficult. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, that I believe that every major decision I've made in retrospect was much harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Like going to Asia Pacific, setting up all of these distribution channels and working with the 13 different cultures. I felt like one day it was one step forward and 2 steps back. Yeah. But yet I persevered and I was persistent and I was successful.
And it grows you beyond belief. And I know that feeling. You're in your comfort zone. Any big decision is hard. When those listening in or watching on YouTube, LinkedIn Live are thinking, they're easier for some people, they're not easy. They're always hard, challenging decisions. But with that comes that belief, that drive. You believe if you back yourself and things come true, it's going to be so much better and you're going to learn so much, grow so much. And that is exactly what you have done. So let's talk about this elliptic curve cryptography. I'm not too sure.
Cryptography. Yes.
Cryptography. Yes. Your role at Certicom was instrumental in commercializing this technology. And so how did that innovation actually come about, and what impact did you have on that tech landscape?
I did not invent it. I did not discover it. I just commercialized it. So I was with a competitor in Silicon Valley, recruited to come to Canada and to commercialize this new technology. And what it is the basics of all of the confidentiality and the security. Let's say you're logging into your bank account. There's a handshake. There's back and forth information that's shared, and that is the technology that my late husband Scott Vanstone developed. And he developed it with a group out of the University of Waterloo. They took the idea, which was not his original idea, it was from a couple of other researchers. So my job was to take this idea. We didn't even have a product. It was a theory, and it was an algorithm and all of these things, into the real commercial world. And so what we did first was we needed to standardize it, because standardization was very important for security. You don't want to deploy security without standardizing it. So my job was to standardize it in IEEE, international standards organizations, etc. So that was the first thing we did before we started working with customers. And then we started working with big customers like Motorola and Research in Motion, which with the BlackBerry. And then now today, this product, this algorithm, this solution is in every PlayStation, DVD player, Google searches, everything is using elliptic curve cryptography. We shorten it to ECC because people don't want to say the whole word. But if you talk to any information security specialist and you say ECC, they'll know what you're talking about. And what it was because it was an algorithm that was superior to anything else because it was compact, low battery, and low computational power and low bandwidth. So it's perfect for the smartphone.
Oh, so incredible. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm just awestruck. But also how challenging it must have been, because let's face it, all of those different phones, brands, technologies all had their own little infrastructure that's different, their background that's different. That's what makes them unique. So wouldn't have been as easy as just having a new technology that pops into one and will work for all. There must have been massive adjustments, developments to then find a tool that actually fits all. Incredible.
Yeah. And what was great at the time, and this is part of my success along the way, is being prepared and also being lucky, being in the right place at the right time. And this technology was perfect for mobile devices. And you could say, well, oh wow, the smartphone, I mean, it's got more computational power than a PC used to have. Yes, that's true. But think about, this was in the 90s when it did not have as much computational power, and the other solutions would not work. It would take a minute to do a secure connect, and we don't wait for a minute to do that.
No.
People are not going to tolerate that type of latency. So it came around, and it's about the same time as RIM is getting ready to launch the smartphone, and Apple's getting ready to do the iPhone, and it was perfect for this environment. Now today it's everywhere because it's still a superior security. As RIM was known for, the BlackBerry is known for its advanced security, and we even then later took it into the driverless car and the connected vehicle. So this is what it's still a very powerful and secure protocol and algorithm.
Incredible. Let's talk about Profound Impact. In 2018, you founded Profound Impact. It's a data analytics firm that uses AI to match funding opportunities with researchers. So this back in 2018, you're at the cutting edge, obviously, of AI as well. So what was the inspiration behind this platform, and what kind of outcomes have you witnessed? Because you could have used AI from its inception. The rest of the world are all just getting onto AI now.
Yeah. Now, AI's been around, and mentioned that I was with MasterCard. AI neural networks, neural networks as part of the AI, has been around for decades. What has happened in the last few years is the computational power has increased, and the algorithms have become so efficient and powerful. So in 2018, I wasn't thinking about AI. I was thinking about retiring. I just sold my last company to Robert Bosch, which was the connected vehicle security and all that. And I stayed on for the year to transition, and I was getting ready to retire on March 31st, 2018. And I really was, but I know I couldn't really retire. So I said, I'd just rewire. And I started working with the University of Waterloo in Ontario to try to measure their worldwide impact. So this is the genesis of Profound Impact. We wanted to measure the worldwide impact of a faculty of math at University of Waterloo, where my late husband, Dr. Scott Vanstone, was a professor and also spun out Certicom. And it started out just to looking at his impact. And then I said, you know what? No, we've got to look at the whole ecosystem and the whole environment and look at that impact. And also, it's not a static story; it's a dynamic story, because the impact was still coming to fruition because of academic children, and also all the spin outs and all of the patents and all of that. So we started out trying to measure the impact of this organization, and doing that, we had to bring in a lot of data, from alumni and faculty members and industry partners to try to measure this impact. And then also our goal was to not just measure it, but also visualize it. Yeah. Because we all, human beings, we love visualization, and with the goal to inspire future impact and collaboration. So with doing this project with the University of Waterloo, we found that yes, we could do this product. We brought it to market, but it wasn't, as far as a business goes, it wasn't scalable. So it led us to be working with universities. And then we identified that the big pain point that many universities and research institutions have is finding more research funding, because ranking, prestige, and just keeping the doors open at these universities. And because, yes, they're there to train students, educate students, but one of the big things is the research and their impact on the rest of the world. So we realized that it kind of came full circle. We're still talking about impact, but in a different way. What if we were able to do a perfect match between a research funding opportunity and a researcher and possibly an industry partner? What if we could do that? If we could do that, we could probably and will and are reduce the waste that's in there. And that's $300 billion of research funding globally available every year. And it's estimated that maybe up to a third is wasted. Now, waste is meaning that we didn't get a negative result or a positive result. We got nothing because the project fell apart. The money was wasted. The project didn't finish. And what if there was a way to bring in the perfect match of the perfect people to bring in to help? This would affect us greatly, because of course it would bring more fundamental and breakthrough research to bear on the problems that we're facing, huge problems that we're facing. And so this is our goal at Profound Impact, by using AI, large language models, to ingest a huge amount of funding opportunity data. We're taking machine learning, matching the expertise and research areas of the researchers, and bringing it together in a bi-match between the funding organizations and the researchers, or maybe a tri-match, because we add an industry partner to that. So this is our goal. We have launched the product. We have customers. We are looking for more. In fact, right now we are inviting researchers to come on our platform for free, and for universities and institutions to do a 90-day evaluation of the product, because we believe that we can help cut out the waste and make a profound impact with the research that can come out of these perfect matches, or close to almost perfect matches. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the better the matches are, the better we will be.
It's great speed dating. I absolutely love it. And I really support those to come on board, because absolutely there is so much waste, mainly because the universities often are very slow. They're working around their semesters or their years and their student availability. And it can be a very slow cog. On the other side, in startup world, you can feel like everybody's going slow, because you do, as you said before, you can just become your own master of your destiny and do it. Try things, make it happen. But you want to actually bridge the gap. You want those people to know about these opportunities and to work with you. So I absolutely think it's fantastic. And I also love the name Profound Impact, because that's exactly what you're trying to do, to have a profound impact on the world that we're all benefiting from. Now, through all of your work, and our listeners will be hearing, goodness me, Dr. Sherry's just been all over the place. You've got an honorary doctorate. You've, as I said in your intro, you've got excellence awards in so many different spheres. So as you've received this recognition, how has this then influenced your perspective on leadership, and particularly as a woman in the tech industry?
Well, every day I find a new challenge. And in the past, I received my honorary doctorate for the work that I did with a specific institution called the Perimeter Institute. It's one of the leading theoretical physics institutes in the world. And I was a volunteer there to raise awareness and money for programs from high school physics and math curriculum all the way up to research chairs for this organization. And it was with that desire to get more women into physics and mathematics and in STEM in general that would motivate me and still motivates me. That's still something that I really love and have a passion for. And so that will continue. Recently, I am on a different mission, and that is to get more women to put their money where their mouth is and start investing in women-led ventures. So I'm part of an organization, a collective called Women Funding Women. We're not a fund. We're about bringing together founders and funders and potential funders. So I just raised $3.125 million for my company. It was a difficult time. I was talking to men. They were not listening to me. And I don't mean all men, some men. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to quit talking to them. I'm going to go out to the women that I know, women that have the capacity but have never angel invested. They have a portfolio, somebody else manages it. They have their philanthropic activities, which is very serious about, and they do it in a very structured way, just like an investor would be in angel investing. And I said, why don't you just put a little money aside to angel invest? So that's what I'm excited about and trying to get women to step up. There's a study that was just done out of Calgary, Alberta, that says that if we could get women to invest at the same level that men invest, we could increase the capital by $3.2 trillion. The capital that's available. And then if women would take that and support women-led ventures, we could make like a $12 trillion economic impact. So these are numbers. These are not my numbers. They're out of this other study, but I love them because right now we're only at 2% of investment of venture capital into women-led ventures in North America. Exactly. We need to move that needle. Only 11% of venture capitalists are women. So we need to move this needle to make an impact. So I'm excited about this. It's again, every day we have this. Every day there's a challenge, whether it's getting women into STEM and helping their career to advance in that area of where they studied and they want to stay in that area and advance, to women-led ventures and finding funding for it, but differently, by doing it differently and approaching women. We need to step up.
Go. We need to girl power it. Exactly. The collective is powerful. The collective has the ability to seriously change the world, like to have such an incredible impact. All the data, all the research says women are great for business. It is tragic that I think 1% of venture capitalists, capital businesses are invested in by women globally. So 99% of men choose to invest in male-dominated startups of some kind with their funding. So it's an emergency. It actually is. And I love the way that you are pioneering that with women, saying, hey, women, how about you support other women? You can still go through and you expect them to, all the checks and balances. You're not asking for a handout. You're actually just asking to be seen, to be valued, and to go on that journey with you so that can happen. I think that is just so fantastic and so necessary, because the statistics are just tragic. So is there a reason that you see now? Back in your earlier day, there was a real, a stereotype of bias against, a barrier for women in STEM, in maths, and you are pioneering that space. Is that barrier still there, or should women just be realizing, those younger girls listening in, if this area interests them, are there just a zillion opportunities that you say, hey, what are you waiting for? There is no barrier to your success.
I think there are more opportunities today than there've ever been in so many different ways. You don't even need you don't need an education in STEM to work in cybersecurity, in AI. It doesn't hurt, and it helps because of the fundamental skills that you develop, such as problem solving, evidence-based decision making, these types of skills that you develop with the scientific or STEM-based science and technology, engineering, math education. I am excited because there's so many opportunities today for women, and I'm not saying there are not any challenges, but their opportunities are huge. We still face a lot of unconscious bias in the workplace and in developing our career. I'm not risk. I wouldn't say that I grab risk and hold on to it. I'm just risk aware that whatever the decisions that I make, they're risky, but I'm willing to make them. But I'm also willing to stand up, and I'm also willing to walk away from opportunities that I feel that I've made the effort and I'm not making any progress. I could hand the baton to somebody else. And the other thing is that that there are different challenges that women face. Let's just say, if you want to get married, you want to have children, or you don't want to get married, you still want to have children, it doesn't matter. It's that childbearing, child raising opportunity that we get to participate in, and that may be a challenge in your career. But what I'm finding is more women are backing away from careers and then re-engaging. And that re-engagement is what is so exciting to me, because our career is not education, work, retirement anymore. It's not like our lifespan doesn't look like that. Our life cycle doesn't look like that. We educate, we work, we may step back from work, as I did. When I took a break although I consulted, I wasn't no longer a VP. I was doing some consulting on the side for several years because I needed to do that to support Dr. Scott Vanstone and what he was doing. And that was fine. Yeah. I was happy with that. But then when I want to re-engage and then get back into it, now we're seeing more opportunities to re-engage. And I think that's what's very important to women in their career.
And I love what you said there, that it doesn't have to have been your background, doesn't have to have been your training. I love that re-engagement phase, because I think so many women, particularly our listeners, have had that, they've done an initial qualification, they've had that journey, they've taken a break, and that re-engagement phase, you can re-engage anywhere. I've had people on my TV show, many people on this podcast who've said, oh my gosh, I re-engaged in a completely different area. And that's because the world's changed. You've changed. Opportunities are changing. There's new jobs coming in that have never been there before. I think I agree with you. There is just, don't see it as a barrier. That is a challenge for women in all professions, that we do take breaks, but you can choose today to actually just start thinking.
And we're seeing it with men too. It's just not women. With this new 100-year life span, they're calling, it's a reality. Young women and men today, they most likely will live into their hundreds, and they have to look at their career differently and their financial planning and other things differently, where it's continual learning, continuous learning. And the great thing today is we've been through COVID, so we know how to work remotely. We know how to learn remotely, and may not be the best, but we are able to do it. And we have so many opportunities, webinars today, and just being able. I just took a course on AI and large language models with the University of Waterloo. It was remote, but real-time remote, and it was exciting because not having to take away from my work day, and go into a classroom, I could learn remotely. And I think we have so many opportunities today. There's really no excuse. I mean, I can learn almost anything from YouTube. I noticed that the other day. I needed to change a battery in my car remote. I went to YouTube, and I can do it. How about that? It's
Absolutely. You can just, right, you got a problem, go to Google, go to YouTube, you'll work it out, practice. Not all of it's exactly right, but hey, there's enough information that you'll work it out. So you have learned so much in your career. You're a sought after speaker now in collaborative corporate culture development, fostering innovation, all about collaboration, which I love in the tech-driven organization. So do you have any key principles or strategies that you believe are essential for fostering innovation and collaboration?
Yes, a couple. I'm talking to myself here too when I say these things. Is don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask in general for what you need and what you believe you need to advance your career and also to learn. But also is being able to ask questions. That's another one of the fundamental skills of a scientific educational background, is to be inquisitive and ask questions. So when you're in a collaboration, doesn't mean that you don't have to know it all. That's what I love about it. I don't have to be an expert in X and Y, but I can work with people who are, and maybe I can even learn something from them too. And I even find it in my own teams. I have this young man who works for me, and he is so detailed oriented that sometimes it gets on your nerves. But this is a skill set, and he's the one who you want to send in to the weeds to find the plants there, because he can do it. And then I have a young lady that works with him, and they get along, but they're not. It's like there's a little friction there, which is okay too. Don't forget, a little friction is fine. You don't want them to come to battle, and hand-to-hand combat, but a little friction, a little questioning. But I told him, I said, she has a skill set that you don't have, and he has a skill set that you don't have, and appreciate that, and understand that you're not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, oh, this is a perfect collaboration. No, there's going to be some friction, because with friction, I believe, comes innovation.
Absolutely. It makes everything stronger, more diverse. It is a fantastic thing. It's the same principles in that work environment as on a board. If you are forming a new board, you actually want those diverse minds. It creates some riveting conversations, a bit of argy-bargy. It's challenging, but it means that you are going to go to areas of that envelope that you wouldn't have gone to before, because you've all got to have, well, what's your rationale for that? Why do you believe that? Back yourself. And at the end of the day, you want to have an environment, in this area, that everyone is the best of their niche, if you like. And I love that, not having to be, try to be perfect in all ways. It's like, no, just hone your niche and be valued for that. And then also have incredible respect for those who work alongside you, who might just drive you crazy, but you need them in your battle plan.
Definitely. And that's what the diversity brings. And this is what people don't, I think people are appreciating more, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be smooth sailing. It does mean that there's going to be some challenges, but of course, that's going to be the case. And as I mentioned, I don't believe that innovation, it comes from a frictionless collaboration or environment. So, and you're speaking about boards. I just became vice chair of the CANARIE board, and we went through quite a challenge last year in finding a new president and CEO for CANARIE. And it was just that different people on the board had different perspectives on it, and of course they would have, and not unusual. Not unusual, and don't expect that some certain processes will be easy. In fact, that was when I went back to say, ask questions and don't be afraid to speak up, because you're there for a reason. Whether you're a part of a team at work or you're on a board, you bring value and you want to contribute. Otherwise, why are you there? And your opinion to say, I need a little more clarification on this one issue, and don't, speak up, drill down, and listen. Of course, that's one of the biggest
Yes.
a skill that I need to continuously hone, is to listen to what's being said and what's not being said in a room.
Absolutely fantastic. So I'd love to finish our conversation today on angel investing. We referenced it before. We had a little bit of a chat, but being an angel investor with your group, Phoenix Fire, you must be looking for specific criteria. Are there any areas for those listening in, watching us today, that they're thinking, you know what, I want to be one of those women who invests in women-led startups? What are you specifically looking from them?
With angel investing, you be risk aware that there is, you may lose your money, and that's a reality. You may lose your money in the public markets too. So that when I look to invest, I became a limited partner with Phoenix Fire because it's the goal is to invest in women and minority-led ventures. That's a fund. Now, then personally, I invest too outside of funds. And when I do that, I try to invest in things I know a little bit something about, such as information security, cybersecurity companies. That's where I invest most of mine. Or, as I said, most of it now is I'm investing in my company because I'm leading it and I know a lot about it. But I think when you start, when I encourage women to invest, try to invest into something that you do know or can learn something about. Of course, I invest in people, so I get to know the people that I'm investing in, and to the degree that you can. I don't always sit on the boards, so I don't get into that, but I might sit on an advisory council instead. So that I'm at least involved with that. So if anyone out there is looking to angel invest, there's angel network, so you can angel invest that way, or you can also, there's something called, I know it's a little interesting name, it's called Easy VC, a company that brings together angel investment opportunities with first-time angels, and it's a platform. And I love it. I'm sure there's others, but this is the only one I'm familiar with, where you can go and there's due diligence done, and you can do your own additional due diligence on this. And when I talk about due diligence, it's drilling down into, do they have a product? Do they have a customer? Do they have any IP? Is there something real there, or is it's just made up? So I would encourage all women to do it. We can add to that we can make a difference. We've always made a difference, and this is an area where we can see our impact in a short period of time in this area.
Yeah. It's all about shifting the dial, isn't it? Considering it's so far one side, it's seriously anything we do is going to be positive. But that's when you can have massive difference, because there's massive gain to be made. Other areas you go, oh, you do a little bit, is it noticeable? I tell you what, in this area, it is going to be so noticeable. It's going to have significant impact, and women really have the ability to be able to shift the dial significantly in this space. I've loved our conversation today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sherry Shannon-Vanstone. You have been an amazing guest, and on behalf of our guests who've listened in, it's been a fascinating journey listening to you, but also a challenge for us all to step up and start seeing, is there a way that we can get involved in these industries, either professionally or financially? It's an exciting place, and we look forward to following also your future work. I think you've got no time to retire. You just keep going.
Thank you. It's been wonderful being here with you and having this conversation. Thank you, Annie.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. And if you would like to fast track your future success, pop on over to womensbizglobal.com, where you can find out how our coaching, media and publishing opportunities are helping women just like you to become and be seen as the trusted authorities in their niche. Inquire today and start reining in the abundance you desire.